Some of you may not be lucky enough to die. Death is probably the best thing that can happen to an alcoholic or an addict who chooses to continue on. The life of the practicing addict or alcoholic, in time, if not already, will become so full of turmoil, so full of frustration, remorse, despair, guilt, and all of that horrible stuff that many people, as evidence in the past, will take their own lives rather than to live in this so-called world of reality as a result of being sober. I'm sort of amused that not only you, but myself at times, you know, some instances that, you know, that you and I, and people like you and I use that are so ridiculous. My parents made me come here. My parents are trying to run my life. That's all right if you're 12 years old, but when you're 28 and 31 and 34, and you're saying, my parents made me come here, why don't you just tell your parents to fuck off? But then you'd have to pay your own bills, wouldn't you? And then you'd have to pay your own rent, wouldn't you? And then you'd have to go out and go to work, wouldn't you? And then you throw up all of these big facades. Well, why should I get sober? Christ almighty, I can go out in the street and make $1,000 a day selling dope. My boyfriend does. Is that right? Then how come your boyfriend still got you living with your mother? How come he doesn't take a little bit of that $1,000 a day and put you in a $100 a day bed? How come you ride in a Greyhound bus instead of a Mercedes? If I was making $1,000 a day, hell, I'd have my honey in a new car. You see, we tend to get so full of shit that we eventually believe it all. And that's how goddamn sick we are. You know, it reminds me of when you're in prison, and there's a few of us in here that have done some research in the criminal system at our own expense. And you hear the same kind of crap in there. And the guys in here know what I'm talking about. When you walk the big yard, you know, you hear more bullshit. You know, about guys that got 18 ladies on the line, but yet they haven't had a visitor in 7 years, haven't had a birthday card. They talk about a family that loves them. They haven't had a visitor in 3 months. And everybody drives a Cadillac in the big yard, a brand new one, with only about 40 miles on it. Or 39 if he just said 40. All bullshit. And you know what's tragic about that? Not only that we believe it, but we literally suffocate ourselves in our own crap. Because we finally, as a result of living these lies, living these fantasies, we actually come to believe them, and they're so insane and so ridiculous that we miss the whole show. We miss life as it goes by. All of a sudden, you know, and I aim this directly at those of you in this room under 30. A scary thing is going to happen to you one day. All of a sudden, you're going to wake up some morning and find out you're almost 45. And what life is nothing but a handful of shit. That's all you've picked up in 20 years. You're going to talk about a lot of great places you said you were, but you won't know anybody from them places. You're going to talk about a whole lot of big names you knew, but you're going to discover they're all dead. You're going to be winding up standing there with empty hands on an empty stage, and nobody paying a goddamn bit of difference to you. And you're going to say, if I had known this, I certainly would have done it different. That's why I always say how lucky we are in AA. How many times in your past have you hollered out for now? If I only had a chance to do it all over again with what I know now. Well, here you are. Here's your chance. We know, as I said last night, some of you are going to drink again. We certainly don't wish that, but, you know, let's be honest, you know. And some of you are entertaining them thoughts that we talk about on that roulette wheel.